Hello, this is Shruthi Mahalingaiah, and I am excited to interview today Richard Burkett, who is the CEO of VFP Pharmacy Group. We know this group as Village Fertility, and I just wanted to start off by saying thank you so much for your sponsorship and support of the New England Fertility Society during a very challenging time. As we know, we are in a coronavirus pandemic, which is still ongoing with an unclear next year and a half. So,
Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
Thank you. So I just wanted to open up and have you introduce yourself and share a little bit about VFP and Village.
Great. Well, I appreciate the time. Like I said, obviously we've been supporters of NEFS for many, many years. We think it's important and we see the value that it brings to, the reproductive community and everyone else that's, affiliated in the space. But my name is Rich Burkett. I'm the CEO at VFP Pharmacy Group. Everyone in this area knows us obviously as Village Pharmacy. We currently now have 4 locations nationally. Our mothership is in Boston and will always be in Boston. It's where we had our start and where we continue to, obviously, continue to be a big presence in the area. We're in Chicago. We're in Phoenix, Arizona, and as of a month ago, we were in the Los Angeles area.
Question number 1 is, what is your greatest challenge in managing your work during the pandemic?
Yeah, so I'll start with the personal side, and there I think a few things from the professional side. But yes, I mean, I took over their playroom. The den was dedicated to my 2 girls. They're 9 and 11. So they weren't happy with me, and the fact that they were home because they weren't in school was an adjustment for them as well. So everyone had to go through change, and it took a couple months to get into the groove, but I think we figured things out and we're all in a much better place than the first couple weeks. From the professional side, there was so much inconsistent information. You're hearing one thing from one side and you hear the other things, and it was ever changing. Our number 1 priority was just to keep our employees safe, and doing the best we could with the information that was available at that time. We quickly moved to a work from home for everyone that could, but being a pharmacy, we obviously have to have pharmacists and fulfillment technicians there all the time. So our number 1 priority was to make sure we can do everything we could to keep them safe so they can continue to do the essential part of the job that they needed to do. The other part was just anticipating customer demand, when things were going to pick up, because we had to be thoughtful in our staffing. We didn't have a pandemic playbook, so we were learning as we, kind of went. But, we are committed to providing a level of service that customers expect, and we did not want to fall short on that. So we were trying to time our employee reintroduction plan with when we thought, patients would really start flowing through the IVF center. So that wasn't easy. Like I said, like every day brought more information, which potentially made us change course. But looking back, it was quite a learning experience, and something I think that's going to make a lot of us stronger going forward.
So you mentioned a little bit about that silver lining. Do you see that there is going to be a lasting change in your strategy, either at home or at work, from this pandemic era?
Definitely. I think the working from home, I think remote working has some huge advantages for folks. I think there's some efficiencies there, and I think there's a lot of just opportunities for people to not have those day-to-day costs that you have when you're commuting. And I think that's something that we'll incorporate going forward. Feedback from the employees has been fantastic. We were worried a little bit about just, are they going to be as efficient at home, worrying about some of the distractions that just can come up when you're at home, but people really, really impressed us.
If this world suddenly returned to the way it was before the pandemic, what would be the first thing you would do?
Focus on risk reduction. We've got to, I think, broaden our imagination of what could go wrong and have a plan. I mean, the comment I made about the pandemic playbook, there could be something else that we're going to be scratching our head and saying, didn't think about that one in 2021. I mean, we need to think about what else out there, whether it's kind of macro environment or directly related to fertility in our space
Mm.
could go wrong, and we have to be prepared. And I think that's going to be the key thing. We actually put together a committee just on crisis preparedness. So we're already thinking about things that could impact, a lot of different areas. Each function head has to think about the worst case scenario, bring it to the group. We talk about it and figure out which ones need a more detailed plan. So that's a big change that I think is going to stick with us.
That is a very unique answer to this question. Preparing for, another crisis is challenging when you don't know what that actually means. So, looking forward to hearing insights from your committee. Finally, the last question is: we've had to navigate this pandemic and bring in a lot of flexibility and resiliency and kind of rely on all of our abilities, talents, and creativity to navigate this as in our professional lives and at home. Is there a discovery about anything that you've kind of developed or implemented that you would be willing to share?
You don't really know people until you're in a situation like this to see how they perform under pressure, right? Where there isn't a path forward that's clearly defined. And what this did was really showcase a lot of my colleagues, I think, first off, about wow, they really came to work through as a team, and they put patients, they put providers, they put company first, and everyone demonstrated so much flexibility. And that was so impressive to me. And I think it really created an extremely tight bond, within the organization, because there was not an expert in this. And the fact that everyone, no matter what your title was, their thoughts, their opinions, their approach, everything was valued. So to see that was great. I think on a similar, note, just, I've been in fertility close to 20 years. I spent the majority of my career at EMD Serono, all in fertility. So you've gotten to know a lot of different people throughout the years. And just to see the community come together, manufacturers, pharmacies, physicians, all the other ancillary groups that touch it was great. And all the ideation that I think that came out of it, it just gave me a lot of confidence that this space is going to continue to move at a rapid pace forward and be a very healthy and exciting place to be. So, I think that was more of the people aspect and, things that you just don't really see until you're kind of thrown into the, if you don't swim, you're thrown in the ocean, you figure out if you can swim or not. And that's essentially what, we were able to witness here. Sorry for the wordy answer.
Oh, no, that's, you don't know a person till you have experienced a crisis, and the discovery therein is just so vast. You're mentioning some really positive things, and I hope that for all of us in the society and all of our sponsors and at home that we can experience some of that creative thinking and problem solving and help those who are more challenged with dealing with something of this nature. But it's very inspirational to hear that insight particularly.